Welcome to the Power of Hospitality podcast, a place where we discover the stories behind the most iconic luxury brands and influential figures who have shaped the hospitality industry. I'm your host, Jupiter Humphrey-Bishop, and in Series 2, we explore some of the most world-renowned products and legendary careers, from CEOs and visionary entrepreneurs to elegant, award-winning luxury brands served in some of the highest establishments in the luxury hospitality industry. I am truly honoured and delighted to welcome today's guest to the show, Anton Mosimann OBE, Swiss restaurateur who was Maître Chef de Cuisine at the Dorchester for 13 years, during which time achieved a 2-star review by the Michelin Guide. He then opened his own private dining club called Mosimann's, along with presenting on television programmes in the UK and Switzerland, and even created Mosimann's Academy, a cookery school known around the world for true inspirational figure for the industry. Anton Mosimann is here today to share his exciting journey into the world of luxury hospitality. So thank you so much for being here today, Anton. It's a real absolute pleasure to have you here on the podcast. Please, perhaps, could you start about how your journey began and a little bit about yourself?
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me. It's a great honor for me to be here. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a long story. My parents had a restaurant. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was 4 years of age. I went to the market every Saturday morning with my father.
Wow.
Selecting all the beautiful, fresh ingredients. Of course, everything was organic in those days. And then we went back to the restaurant. We had a restaurant at home. And then I was part of the cooking team already. I was peeling and all cleaning and all kinds of things. Wow. Watching father and mother, they're both chefs. They were both chefs. And yeah, that's how I learned it. And I loved the smell of it. And so I got very excited at age 4. Wow. And then I decided one day I would become a chef.
Yes. Fantastic.
Yeah, and then I started my apprenticeship, which was very interesting in those days. Very hard work. He was obviously 7 days a week. They had 1 day off a week.
Okay. And
every second week there was also my school day. So I had only half a day off. Wow. And every day were between 10 and 12 hours work. But, when you're 15 years of age, you don't mind. You just go for it. And I never regretted it.
Fantastic. Wow. And you've had such a positive outlook on life, right from such a young age, and you had quoted in one of your books, don't let yesterday spoil today or spoil tomorrow. Do you think this outlook has shaped your life?
Very much so.
Okay.
It's true. Whatever is yesterday, it's gone, it's past. You can't change it anymore. Look forward in a positive way. And, I always tell that my students as well. We have, I got a museum in Switzerland, and we have 250 young students from all over the world. And the same message, go for it, go for the best, and that's very important.
Yeah. And in one of your books, you mentioned that your 7th grade teacher had, supported and encouraged you to go out and do an apprenticeship. Do you still remember some of that, advice from those kind of earlier mentors?
Very much so. He was extremely dedicated. He had a wonderful experience, background as a teacher. Obviously had many, many young students beforehand. And he took you to one side. We had a very good relation somehow. He was obviously 50 years older than I was, but somehow we understood each other very well. And he believed in me already then. He said, go for it. Yes, if you like it, go for it. Do it and make the best out of it.
Wow. And look at the career that you've had, since has been really unbelievable. It's such an honor to have you in the podcast studio today. So, of course, when you were younger, you would cook a lot when your parents went out, and you would cook for your guests. And you mentioned that you had a lot of kind of positive feedback on the food. Did that kind of help your confidence and help you believe in yourself when you were younger?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, every Monday, my the restaurant was closed, and my parents went out for, to say, have a good day off outside. And then I invited my school friends, or even the grown-up regular guests.
Oh, wow.
who then missed coming because the restaurant was closed. And I cooked them cheese fondue and all kinds of things. And they loved it. I was then age 8 and 9. But it was a good experience. And the feedback was positive. So that also encouraged me to do more.
Wonderful. Wow. And so, how important is it for young people to receive this positive feedback? Does it, obviously it's really helped you. Do you think, more people should be receiving kind of, encouragement at a younger age?
I think that's very important.
Yeah.
Coming back to the students we have back in Switzerland, I talked to them. I said, listen, first of all, congratulations for having chosen such a wonderful profession, becoming a chef. It's one of the most beautiful professions in the world, and satisfying because you can give pleasure to other people. And wow, it's fantastic. The sun doesn't always shine, but there's some rain, there's some hail, there's some thunderstorms sometimes, but that's life. But get up in the morning, say, wow, today is a new day, and that's very important. So fully inspired and motivated.
Wow. And so during your apprenticeship, you wrote a little entry in your diary that talked about how one day that you would love to write your own recipe book. And, now many years later, you've written numerous books, which I have 2 at home. So I have the Mosimann World and Cooking with Mosimann as well. So Life is a Circus.
Life is a Circus.
That one, sorry.
Yeah.
Wonderful books.
Yeah.
How is
I
that
don't
feeling?
know why. I just felt, I would love one day to share my experiences already then. And yes, I've written 15 books altogether. And it's a great feeling to be able to share those recipes and those secrets, as we call them, with other people.
Wow.
Gives me a lot of pleasure.
Wow. And, as well, you then went on to become, was it 25 years old, where you received the coveted Chef de Cuisine diploma, which is, such a highly kind of looked upon diploma. How was that experience kind of going through that, and how has that helped?
I mean, I was always a kind of a driver. I always believed in doing better than my colleagues. And I worked very, very hard, honestly, very hard. And these exams normally is taken when young chefs are 26, 27 years of age, because you had to have so many years experience after your apprenticeship. And I was 8 months short in that time. But the head of the judges said, listen, we got to know you, and I think you'll be able to do it. Why don't you try?
Okay.
And I didn't. I'm still the youngest chef de cuisine diplômé, master chef in Switzerland, was 25 years of age. Still the youngest. So nobody else,
Gosh.
hasn't made any younger. So I'm very proud of that. Very, very proud.
Wow. And that led on to then working at the Dorchester. I mean,
it was then the next step. It was my first gold medal.
Okay.
Which I won with 27 years of age. The Doctor. First Doctor. I won the first medal. And because of that medal, I'm sitting here today.
Fantastic.
The whole professional life has changed in a matter of 24 hours. I got an invitation from a very, very famous chef then in Switzerland. He opened all the Hilton hotels as an opening chef. He was an artist. He done butter sculptures, cold buffets. He was just very well respected. And he invited me for dinner. And he showed me his books and Escoffier, Gouffet, Nano, and so on. I knew all of them. And then, once he left, he said to his wife, one day, I'm in heaven, this young man should be able to buy my cookery books. But 2 months later, the chef from the Dorchester rang Mr. Furrer in Switzerland and said, listen, I'm looking for a successor. I had 3 already, and none of them made it. Okay. Do you know anybody? And Mr. Fuller said, listen, Anton Mosimann was here a few months ago. Maybe you should call him. That's how I came to London, because of that gold medal.
Wow.
Just amazing.
Wow. And
just amazing.
Of course, that's how we met for the first time, was when I was one of the judges for then
at the Talk Door
for the Fine Dining Challenge this year and last year as well. And then hearing you kind of at the awards night doing all of your kind of speech, and it's just honestly so wonderful. How has that kind of full circle moment been? And do you have any advice for the listeners today, perhaps thinking about entering the Nestlé Talk Door competition? What kind of advice would you give them if they want to? Yeah,
I always believe in motivating the young people. Say, go for it. Just enter the competitions, because you can't, even if you can't be all the time first, but you come second, maybe third, but never mind. Enter next time again. Yeah. But just go for it, because it's such an experience. And people get to know you, people get to see you, how you work. And when I came to the Dorchester, I had 131 chefs in one kitchen. 131. Just imagine.
131.
And I was 28 years of age. I was one of the youngest. Some of them have been in the kitchen for 35, even 40 years.
That's incredible.
That was incredible. That's why 3 of my predecessors, they had to give up. I mean, they chucked in the hat, as we say.
Okay.
and so, but I stayed on and very successful. Very successful career. But, I always say to young people, look, here I am, I'm a human being, and what I achieve, you can achieve as well. So go for it.
And how was it, working at the Dorchester? What were some of the, I'm sure you held some amazing events there. What were some of those, some of the events, and any special memories of who perhaps you cooked for?
Yeah, one of them certainly is the Queen Mother. She came quite a lot to eat at the Dorchester. Wow. Because she loved my food. I worked 1 year in Japan before that, 1 year in Italy. So my food was very much, Italian, Japanese influenced, very light, beautifully presented, and she loved it. And every time she went back to Clarence's house, she asked her chef to write to me for the recipes. Oh, it's a great compliment for me. Fantastic. So I got lots of letters from the chef, from the Queen Mother.
Wow, that's such a special memory, for you to have. And of course, then after working at the Dorchester, you then started Mosmann's. Perhaps, tell us about, kind of what was the inspiration for working for yourself, and how did that happen?
Yeah, and before that, we got 2 stars, by the way.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes.
How did they?
Yeah, we got 2 stars from Michelin. Yes. It was the first hotel restaurant outside France with 2 stars. It was very unique, because you had to wait 2 years for 1 star, another 2 years for the 2nd star.
Wow.
Today you get them much, much quicker.
I see.
But it was really hard work, and you had a wonderful team, fully motivated team, and they all went for it. And we were so proud to have the second, to have 2 stars. And then, what's next? After 13 years, 15 years, had offers from all over the world. I'm really from Hong Kong, from Singapore, from Tokyo, from New York, everywhere. Wow. I said no. I had 2 boys. They went to school in London. We loved London, so I looked around, and there was nothing hotel-wise as well. I had lots of offers, but there was not. I said, "What's the next step?" So I was then self-employed. So by pure coincidence, I found the old Belfry Club, which was kind of for sale, not quite, but almost for sale. So anyway, we made an offer and we got it. And because it was a private club, I had to make a choice. Opening to the public with my 2 stars, or leave the stars behind at the Dorchester. Wow. So I decided, after about 2 weeks, yes, no, what should I do? I said, okay, I leave the stars behind. I keep the Belfry as a private dining club. So in my heart, they're still here. I never lost them. Wow. Sadly, the hotel lost them afterwards. But in my heart, they're still here, which I'm very proud.
So you carry them in your heart
for my life, rest of my life.
And of course, the Mosimann Club is, such a prestigious, iconic place. What was your vision when setting it up, and what did you want to achieve when creating it?
Yeah, I want to achieve something different, something different to other clubs. There are lots of gentlemen's club, of course, in London. We were a private dining club, not necessarily gentlemen, but dining, open for the ladies as well. And yeah, we created some unique, rooms. We had Tiffany, Wedgwood, and Gucci. They all sponsored one room each.
Wow.
Decorated the rooms, paid for it, of course, which is very nice. And that was also a USP. It was the unique selling proposition where people, they loved it. It was really unique, very unique.
And then that obviously, followed on to, creating and featuring on some amazing television programs, which, some of them were with Lloyd Grossman, Sir Lloyd Grossman. How did that come about, and did you feel relaxed in front of the camera, or how was your kind of thoughts on that?
Yeah, the first program was Anton Goes to Sheffield, where I cooked for a working family. I was challenged by BBC.
Okay.
And that was a great experience. I had £10 in my pocket to cook lunch for 7 people. So I went to the market in Sheffield and with the families, 4 adults, 3 children. And we done a wonderful meal. And we had then, BBC were filming constantly. We had 60,000 people who wrote in for the recipes afterwards.
60,000?
Incredible. It was such a success. It was kind of the first television program on food creations. Yeah.
And of course, then the Mosimanns have featured have earned a royal warrant as well. How did that feel when you achieved that? And
it was also, by the way, nice from Sir Lloyd Grossman now when he mentioned, the British food is divided into 2.
Yes.
Before and after Mosimann. I mean, for me, that was a great, great compliment. And congratulations to... sorry. By the way, congratulations to Lloyd. I haven't seen him since. He was knighted, but well done. Well done. Well deserved.
Wow. Fantastic. And fantastic. So what would you say, was, how did the royal warrant kind of help you become, more recognised as a kind of Mosimanns club?
I mean, it was for me an incredible experience, and just to be awarded that royal warrant holders, I'm still very, very proud. Of course, you have to supply the household for 5 years constantly and deliver good food and good service. And then, of course, all the staff were fully motivated.
Wonderful. And
we love to go in and out of the palaces. That was also a great experience. And the young people from all over the world wanted to work at Mosimanns because of that.
That's fantastic. And, and how has, all this kind of inspiration, shaped your life? Because you've traveled around the world, you've traveled to Japan, you've been part of, cooking for the Olympics. For example, you were catering for the Olympics in Beijing. What was that experience like? And, to share that with your 2 sons, who now, I assume, are part of the company.
Yes, they are. It's a nice story how it started. My son Philip, he was at school in Lausanne, and I was also teaching at Lausanne for summer courses, and then invited him for dinner. Wow. So we ate one of the hotels, and after dinner we went in the bar, and in those days we smoked a cigar for fun.
Yes.
And there were 2 people next to our table. They also lit a cigar and had no ashtray. So I took my ashtray, said, "Excuse me, gentlemen, please have my ashtray." I said, "Oh, you speak English." And those two people were actually from the States, came to Lausanne to bid for the Olympics in Beijing for the catering.
Wow.
And because of that ashtray, we've done 6 Olympics since then.
No way.
Can you imagine? Just because I moved that ashtray from my table, then we came into conversation, start to talk, and then we got 6 Olympics.
Fantastic.
Unbelievable. You never know. But, being in the business, it's normal. You're here to give, you're here to help, you're here to serve. For me, it's nature. I was born like this, and I never changed my mind.
Wow, gosh. And, so if you went back to, little Anton as a little one, what kind of advice would you give him now that you've had this incredible wealth of knowledge and experience? What advice would you give the little Anton?
I would do the same thing again. I would say do exactly what I did, and wish him good luck. And because it's such a wonderful, wonderful profession. I cooked in 80 cities around the world because being a cook, being a chef, 80 cities. I was invited everywhere. Maybe just for risotto cooking or whatever. Events, weddings, celebrations. Head of states, of course, as well. Fantastic.
Wow. And, you must have met so many kind of inspirational people along the way, from celebrities to prime ministers. Who are some of the very special people that you've met along the way? It's
a long list.
Oh.
But, Mrs. Thatcher, when she was in office, she invited President Mitterrand of France, and she called me at the Dorchester, where her office did, and said, I don't think my chefs at number 10 are good enough for the President of France. Would I like to come and cook? I thought, madam, what an honor. So I cooked for President Mitterrand, a very nice meal, everything was fine. And then she opened the doors for me. So since then I cooked 7 prime ministers at number 10 Downing Street. Just 7? An incredible, just because of the President Mitterrand. No, she was extremely nice. She loved her food.
Yes.
She was very tack. She knew how to do things, in my opinion. And the rest is history. Wow. Fantastic.
Gosh. And so for anyone perhaps listening today thinking, I would love to be a chef, kind of what advice would you give to somebody perhaps starting out where they haven't quite got any experience yet? How can they kind of go into the industry? What skills and things do they need to start out?
Yeah, I think they should obviously go to a hotel kitchen, a restaurant kitchen, wherever, just to go and sniff it around and see. But also be slightly a bit choosy because, there are obviously lots of different chefs, different attitudes, different manners, whatever. I always believed there was actually a nice write-up quite a while ago. Daily Mail said the last gentleman chef, Anton Mosimann. No, it's. I always believed in respect each other, help each other, be here for each other. Respect for me is one of the most wonderful things. By the way, I never allowed shouting in the kitchen. When I came to the Dorchester, oh my God, the noises and the swearing and the language was just incredible. And I said, as of tomorrow, no more shouting. Oh, no, chef, it's part of the job. I said, no, it's not anymore. We change it. And, to this day, honestly, I never allowed shouting in the kitchen.
Gosh, and, you commented in your autobiography, Life is a Circus, which I have read.
Good.
And that I set myself goals from a very young, early age. How important was it that you stuck to that mindset and has that, obviously has shown that you've kind of achieved all of those things. But how important was that statement for you?
It's still there because I always believed in doing my best.
Yes.
By the way, I never had a bad day in my career as a chef. Never. I never had the feeling, this morning, I don't feel like going to work. just the opposite. I always felt good to go to work. I loved going and, motivate my staff and give pleasure to my guests. Yeah, always, wherever in the world.
So, who inspires you today? I mean, you're such a kind of inspiration, Anton, for the industry. Who inspired you when you were younger? Was there anybody that kind of inspired you and think, yeah, one day I would love to kind of do what they're doing, and which helped you kind of move forward in your career?
Yeah, there are quite a lot of chefs in those days because I have chosen to go to the best.
Okay.
And I worked in 5 different palace hotels in Switzerland.
Wow.
And palace hotels in those days were really, really the best. And I learned from all of them. Some were quite tough, and
yes.
quite shouting, whatever. But I said, okay, one day I'm a chef, I'm doing differently, whatever. But I always was willing to learn. I also accepted the cultures in Japan, in Italy, in Canada, wherever I worked around the world. I always respect people. And I think that's, if you respect, you get respect back. And that's also very important. It's the way you shout in the wood, the way it comes back.
Fantastic.
That's my policy.
And there's so many, wonderful kind of top restaurants and hotels around. What would you be kind of looking for in a restaurant to be kind of featured on perhaps Anton's recommendation list of list of recommendations? What would you be looking for in a restaurant?
Yeah, I always say it's the food simplicity, honest food.
Yeah.
What you see on the plate, that's what you get. Very often you see a plate overloaded with lots of things, confusing. The tastes are different. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Just 2 or 3 different tastes and ingredients, and very often they are the best.
Wow. And so, Anton, you are known around the world for your very smart look, very very sophisticated, always in a suit, and particularly with a bow tie. And I think you had mentioned somewhere that you started wearing a bow tie since 9 years old. How important is it for those to dress smartly when going into the industry?
Yeah, it was my mother. Actually, I was 7 years of age. She bought me a bow tie.
Okay.
And, I was quite shocked. And she said, all the doctors are wearing bow ties. And one day maybe you'll be a doctor. That was her idea. So no doctor, but a chef. But I still wear bow ties. I got plus 300. So I'm a big collection of
300?
bow ties. Yes, so almost one every day. So
wow. One for every day of the year almost.
Yes, almost.
Wow.
Yeah, I like them.
So fantastic. Gosh, and tell us a little bit about obviously the Mosimanns Club, which was showcased at was it in Switzerland in the education group, which is really wonderful, and it was shown by the kind of the Caesar Ritz, this kind of wonderful presentation of all the different things. Perhaps talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, my museum is now part of the Caesar Ritz Hotel School,
wow.
which we have, say, 250 students, and fantastic. They all fully motivated to become a chef one day, or a head waiter, or whatever, a hotelier, of course. That's the thing. And we were lucky enough to buy the name Ritz from Madame Ritz, the founder of the Ritz Hotel.
Wow.
Ritz worked in London. He opened the Ritz Hotel in London, and he was with Escoffier together. Mm-hmm. They worked in Switzerland, they worked in France, they worked here in England. So it's a nice reputation, and we're very, very lucky, very happy to have such a big name. And that also helps for the young people to go forward.
Fantastic. Wow.
Great pleasure to give something back to the young people. And, when I talk to them, it's like, I feel so much younger because you have 50, 60 students in front of you. They're all hungry. They want to have information about the future. Yeah. And it gives me such a pleasure to share my experiences.
Wow.
And they go, wow, if Mosimann can do it, I can do it.
Yes.
I won 50 gold medals over the years. 50. They're all beautifully displayed at the museum. I got 265 black and white photographs of famous people. I mean, this is inspiration. I said, wow, that's what I want to do as well. So it's great. It's a good feeling.
Wonderful.
It's a very good feeling for me. Yeah.
Gosh, you really have had such a wonderful impact on so many people, and have really inspired people to go out there and to just to believe in themselves. And like you say, if Anton can do it, I can do it. And
that's the message.
It's a wonderful,
it's a powerful message.
Yeah.
And go for it. Just go for it. Don't give up. And I always say, people don't expect to be a head chef in 5 minutes. It takes time, step by step. Choose your people, choose the right people. And if you miss, I always say, people, if you miss something in your career, go back again. I went back 3-4 times because I was promoted too quickly, because I was also eager to go for it. And then I said, I missed something. For instance, most head chefs have one weakness, especially in the past, pastry experience. They had no pastry experience because there was a pastry chef in the kitchen. He done the desserts, and it's not my job.
Yeah,
I was different. I was master chef. I was head chef already in Japan, came back to Switzerland, and then I went back as an apprentice for a whole winter season. Wow. No money, just learn about pastry. But, I had respect in London. When I came to London, I had 32 pastry chefs and bakers. And there, I could show them something about pastry. They were very impressed. Very impressed. Again, I never asked anybody to do something I couldn't do myself. That's also a very important message. Now, it's easy to just shout and scream whatever, but do it, show it, and then you get respect.
Wow,
fantastic. Or you gain the respect.
Wonderful. So for part of Series 2, we're now starting this new project where each guest brings an item that's played a special part in their career. So this can be anything from a book, from a special photograph, a menu, or even something that was very significant in their career. So Anton, what did you bring in today?
Yeah, something very special. I got a huge collection of cookery books, 6,000 books, and some of them are 500 years old. I mean, really first editions. And you also mentioned about who I would like to cook for. I have missed in my career.
Of course.
And there's one person I cook for so many personalities, so many famous people, presidents, but Pope Franciscus, I would love to have cooked for him. We had a private audience with him. I was very, very impressed.
Wow.
Just a few people of us. And I would have loved to cook my risotto for him, but sadly it didn't happen. But that's one guest I would love to have cooked for. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, this is, again, 6,000 menus, 6,000 cookery books, and about 30,000 menus.
Wow.
And this is my absolute favorite menu. It's the last menu from Titanic.
From the Titanic?
From Titanic, 1912. And we have the passport of the lady who actually was on the ship, and her name was also on the menu.
No way.
Yeah, incredible.
My gosh.
It's the only one was
perhaps this is, if you perhaps hold it up to this camera, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. It's in a safe, of course.
Of course it would be.
24-hour security.
Wow.
But yeah, it's incredible.
That's unbelievable.
I was able to buy it at an auction, and I'm very, very proud. Very happy to have it.
Gosh, I almost have no words. It's really.
No, it's something very, very special.
And what is on the menu? What is, perhaps read out maybe one or two of the items?
They had obviously a very good taste. I mean, there's also a first course from the grill, then the grilled fish chops. Grilled fish. There's chops, lamb chops, all kinds of things, and then there's a buffet, also a nice buffet, and then of course the dessert. So a nice selection of wonderful food.
Fantastic.
I'm sure. 1912. Yeah.
Gosh, unbelievable. Yeah, it's so wonderful when the guests for the series are bringing in special mementos. That's really wonderful.
This is, I'm very, very proud of it, of course.
Of course.
Out of 30,000, this is the menu.
I just can't believe you have 30,000 menus.
Yes, I collect.
Where do you store them all? Or?
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I have a bibliothèque in Sion, in the French part of Switzerland, in the Valais, and they're hosting a lot of menus in their bibliothèque, and so they're in good hands. But people have access. If they look for something very special, they can contact the CEO bibliothèque, and they can actually visit as well.
Wow, well, that certainly is a very, very
or even
at
Mosimann's collection. I mean, I got already at least 3,000 there as well. So people have good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have to start again. But even at the Mosimann's collection, we have about 3,000 menus. Some of them are on display, and
that's
inspiring.
Very, very inspiring. Gosh, and finally, before we just wrap up, so we'll do a quick fire round questions. So 3 super quick questions, just to wrap up from today. So you mentioned that you trained as a Swiss wrestler as well. So and had won around maybe 8 competitions, I think.
Yeah.
You know, which is incredible. And you mentioned that there's this wonderful balance of 2 things that were needed: harmony and a natural fighter. So if you were to use those 2 elements in a dish for perhaps one dish of food, what would those 2 things, what would it be?
Yeah, let me just go back first about the wrestling. You know, in a wrestling, there are 2 people.
Yes.
I was 14 years of age. I was a junior champion. And when you're in a team of 11, of course, you all want to win. That's nature. But when you're just 2, then I want to win.
Yes.
So that gave me a lot of encourage for my professional life as well, to be a winner. And that was a fantastic experience. My father taught me as well. He was a wrestler.
Okay.
So I learned from him quite a lot. But coming back, I would say I would have a nice steam bass.
Okay.
As a main, and then black bean sauce with lots of fresh herbs on top of it. That would be a nice combination.
Fantastic.
Beautiful.
Gosh. And so question number 2. So if you could cook again for one guest that you've already cooked for, if you could cook again for them, who would it be? One of the many famous people you've cooked for. Who would you like to cook for again?
You know, I cooked so many times for the present King Charles. I always loved his comments. I always loved his enthusiasm about the food. He is a great eater. He loves his food. And I was always very honored to be asked to cook for him. So yes, anytime I would love to cook for him again. And
what is your favorite memory working in the industry? What has been your absolute favorite memory?
Certainly when I was presented by Her Majesty the late Queen with the officer of the British Empire. That was really the highlight.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a fantastic moment, and I would never forget it. Never, ever.
Wonderful. Gosh. That's, such an inspiration. And were you perhaps involved with the wedding of, were you cooking for the wedding as well?
Yes.
Was that another?
Yes, as I said before, I was cooking, very lucky to cook with the late Queen Mother, then late Queen, the Queen and Queen. Sorry, start again. I was very honored to cook for the Queen Mother when she came to the Dorchester, then the late Queen, then Prince Charles, now the King, and then the wedding for William and Kate. I was the lucky one to got the phone call to cook the wedding for them. So 4 generation royal family.
Wow. Gosh.
I feel very proud about it.
That's really incredible. And one more final question for the fire round questions. So Anton, what is your favourite dish? You're so often cooking for other people, but what is your favourite dish?
I love all kinds of food. I always go for the locals.
Okay.
The local food is always. And whenever I'm cooking, I always go to the market first.
Okay.
First of all, to pay respect to the producers.
Yeah.
I was in Laos a couple of years ago, and I saw this quite elderly man came with a basket of fresh herbs, and I spoke to him with a translator, and he said he got up at 4 o'clock in the morning. He had to walk for 1 hour to come to the market, and so we had a very good, respectful chat with each other. And he was then so proud that I should be a chef, who used his herbs afterwards.
Wow.
And, this is, again, it's important. I always create my food according to the local markets, the produce. I never used fresh, I never used frozen food. So for me, fresh is important. But then I also created my own recipe, which is Anton's favorite risotto.
Okay.
It's called Anton's favorite risotto. Risotto al funghi with fresh mushrooms.
Wow.
And because of that risotto, honestly, I've been traveling all over the world because people ask me, I went to Calcutta a few years ago for a birthday party as a surprise for 80 guests. He's also a customer. He used to play tennis at Wimbledon. Mr. Kumar, his name, I can mention his name. He was the first Indian tennis player at Wimbledon, and he was a fantastic man. He loved his food. And for his 80th birthday, his wife rang me, said, Anton, how is London? So she had all questions. Why is she calling me? Eventually said, listen, Naresh will be 80 in December, and he has everything. It's just everything. But one thing I know he would love is your risotto. They flew all the way to Calcutta just for 1 day, cooked risotto for 80 people, then came back again. Wow. But, why not? I mean, I made him happy. It was just, for me, was obviously a great satisfaction as well to make somebody happy with my risotto. But that risotto, honestly, all over the world I cooked it.
Wow, gosh. Oh, what a wonderful story. Really lovely. Well, honestly, thank you so much for being here. It's been, such an honor, and, to have a real kind of celebrity icon who's, shaped the industry as a whole and shaped the way that we think about food and, the styles of cooking and the cuisines that we have and, the kind of vision that we have about different seasons and food. You really have, played a massive part in the kind of global culinary world. So, thank you so much for being here. It's honestly...
It's a great honor to be here. Thank you so much for asking me, honestly.
Thank you
Fantastic.
So much. And
thank you.
It's lovely to see you again after we saw each other recently at the Nestle Talk Tour. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that brings us to the end of today's episode, where we interviewed the iconic Anton Mosimann, famous chef. Thank you so much for being here today, and I really hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Stay tuned as we continue to interview some of the most inspirational and influential professionals in the industry. See you soon.